guys, it's Sam, and this is my spoiler-free review of City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. And this was my Patreon book pick for the month, so every month my Patreon supporters get to vote in a poll for a book that I'll read and review that month. We also buddy read that on the Patreon exclusive Discord. There's also video topics they can vote on, and there is a monthly Patreon-only live stream and just like a lot of Patreon stuff. So if you're interested in participating in my content in that way, I will link my Patreon on the screen. This is the first book in an adult fantasy trilogy, and this takes place in 18th century Cairo starting off, and follows one of our main characters, which is Nari, and she is somebody who can detect illness in people and has been kind of a healer for a while. And one day she does this ritual and she starts speaking a language that she heard as a child but she hasn't heard since, and ends up summoning an ancient Jinn warrior and getting carried off into the Jinn politics, and everything kind of goes from there. They end up going to Daevabad, which is the main city where all the Jinn are, and everything kind of goes from there. So first off, we talk about the world building. This world building is so lush and atmospheric and magical, but also very deeply political and what's going on with the characters and interactions and things like that. The magic is very otherworldly and kind of ethereal and just very visual in a lot of ways, because a lot of them have this magic that is like something that you can very much see, and it also is very much a part of life, because once they get to Daevabad you get to see like how much it is a huge just part of life and how it like sustains everything, sort of similar to how you would picture like, you know, going to Hogwarts for the first time. Like, it's just a totally different reality, totally different world, and you get all of that. But then another big part of the world building is all of the political stuff going on. I don't find it super hard to follow or anything. There's this war going on between kind of like the different, what do you call them, races or more like clans of Jinn, and like all of that stuff that's happening. Like, there's a lot of things going on there. So we have the magical elements, but also this like strong political element, but nothing that you get too bogged down in. Next, we talk about our characters. There's actually two main characters that we follow. One I already talked about, which is Nahiri, and she was like my immediate favorite. She was the one that like I was always kind of wanting to get back in her perspective initially. The second one, Ali, grew on me. So he is actually one of the Jinn in Daevabad. He is the second son of like the king that was a family that overthrew the original rulers of that city, and so there's a lot of just like political turmoil stuff, and he is very involved in the political uprising of the Shafit, who are like a half human, half Jinn people. So they're essentially like a mixed race people because they are part human, part Jinn, and so they are really like marginalized in this society. So he is really siding with them, but then he's also seeing that there's like a lot of extremism kind of on all sides, and so he's just kind of stuck in the middle of a lot of this. And then when Nahiri eventually arrives, like he gets wrapped up in her stuff as well. So it took me a little bit longer to really like care about his storyline, but eventually I really equally care about both of them. Nahiri is great because she is this like survivor character that I don't feel like is too hard. She is like this healer and maybe not as trusting as she could be, but not in a way that's very like where you want to shake her and you're like, why are you like this? But she also is like incredibly smart, was a thief for a long time, so has like that situation going on, and just knows how to like weave her way through a situation. And then she has this dynamic with the Jinn warrior who was called to her, Dara, and they have this like will they won't they dynamic, but that's also very complicated. And because of these like clan dynamics going on, the thing that was like so compelling and interesting about this book for me, and I don't know if this is a universal truth, so let me know down below, but I never really knew who to pull for. So we have all of these perspectives of like, this group is bad, this group is bad, this group did the worst things, this group did the worst things, and like, since it's told from different perspectives and you get to hear different people's opinions on it, like, there's never one way that you feel like the narrator's sort of pushing you towards. It's very much like, I don't know. Like, I don't feel like I have enough information. I don't know who's right here. Like, what is this situation? So, and that was true through the entire book. Like, I still really am not sure whose side I'm on. I will talk about that a little bit more in my discussion of it, because I will be doing a discussion for this book. But yeah, that was like a really compelling element, because usually I'm kind of like, okay, the characters aren't sure, but like this is the right like path. I don't know. Lastly, as far as the plot, I was engaged in this the whole time. Like I said, between the world building, the characters and their dynamics, the political stuff, everything that was going on, not knowing who to root for, like, so interesting, so engaging, and just like a wild ride. I mean, I read this, like, it's a fairly long book, and I read this fairly quickly for it being long, and I really do want to continue on with the series soon. I just am so like wrapped up in it and so intrigued by it, but like I have other books on my shelf. My constant problem of I have like plenty of books on my shelf, but I'm also like, I don't want to lose like being in this world and forget stuff. So I almost feel like I could get the second book, like purchase that myself and then ask for the third book for Christmas, even though I don't really need any more books, but like I kind of just want to like go through this series. So let me know down below if you feel like I should do that, because that's kind of what I'm leaning towards, because I'm just very hooked and very much want to know what is going on, and I've only heard good things about this whole series, so we will see. But as you can probably tell, I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. I'm gonna be talking a lot more about like the details of this in my discussion because there's a lot of spoilery stuff I wanted to get into, so I will link my discussion on the screen for this. So comment below and let me know your thoughts on the City of Brass. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see all of you guys soon. Bye.